The Japanese Grand Prix is finished. We have another Mercedes winner this week, and we had a big crash, and I hate to say, possibly an I told you so moment. Coming up next on the No Regulations Pod. Okie dokie. Japanese Grand Prix is finished, and we didn't put out any content earlier this week. We had some travel going on. I was extremely busy, but wanted to get out a little bit of a podcast regarding the race. Watched it this morning because it happened at, I think, 3 a.m. here last night. So got up and had some coffee and watched it this morning. And interesting race, some pretty good action, and a good win for Kimi Antonelli, who uh, had a little bit of a slow start, but got right back up there with the help of a safety car due to a pretty serious crash that happened today.
Yeah. Yeah, I think Kimmy's kind of brought himself onto maybe the hands-on or the favorite to win this championship after kind of just showing good form. And when he got out front, he just left everybody. And that's kind
Yeah,
of a could be a sign of things come. Obviously, Russell had a lot of bad luck with that safety car, so
yeah, he
you
did.
can't really discount him. It would have been a way different race had that safety car not come out. But with these new regulations, we could see a little more of this chaos continue.
Yeah, I agree. The safety car came at, I thought, a good time for a few of the teams. Bad luck for George just pitting right before that. But speaking of the safety car, uh, pretty significant crash
But yeah,
going into the barriers there, and 50G I think was
yeah,
said to be the impact G force. So that's pretty significant. And a little bit of a banged up Ollie Behrman, um, and feel bad. Glad he's okay. Always want to see the guys walk away from that kind of thing. However, that crash happened because of these new regulations.
oh yeah,
And something that we talked about early in the season was, what if an individual is coming up behind somebody harvesting who, I mean, when you're going, I think they clocked Behrman at 262 miles an hour, and they clocked Colapinto at 100 or sorry, kilometers per hour, and Colapinto at 170 kilometers an hour.
yeah,
Massive difference. That's damn near a 60-mile-an-hour difference between the two of them. And if you're standing on the side of the road and a car's coming up 60 miles an hour behind you, how quickly they pass you and how hard it is to see somebody from any distance coming that quickly. And Colapinto just kind of stuck out to the left hand side a little bit, and the rest is history. And it was bound to happen. It was with this harvesting and stuff. So that was my I hate to say I told you so moment, but we just talked about it toward the beginning of the season,
oh yeah.
and it's already happened 3 races in.
Yeah, and I think you could look at that at first glance, and it's you could kind of say that Ali had a little space to get through there, but Calapinto just clearly went to the middle of the track and
Hmm.
basically just it's kind of a racing move. I wouldn't say it was dirty. It's just kind of like reminded me of the George Russell and Bottas
Yeah.
moment when Bottas just kind of stuck it in the middle. And it's like, if you want to go around me on the outside, good luck kind of thing. And it was kind of the same deal, but at these speeds, even on a dry track, to us, it kind of looks like he had room and that he could have got around. But at those
Hmm.
speeds, you are like you said, if you're standing still and the car comes by you at 60 miles an hour, it's going at a good rate of speed. So when these guys are doing this and they're just having to react at such a short notice, and when he kind of goes to the left and then you see Ali go to the left once, he kind of breaks that barrier of being, thinking that he can get around him. He's kind of taking the off road, and once he hits the grass, it's just like ice. And I don't know if you saw the Carlos Sainz interview after the race, but he was slamming the FIA, saying that these regulations are going to be dangerous. And the basically the drivers union has been saying this for a long time because, like he said, when they get to a track like Vegas or Baku or some of like Singapore, some of these tracks that don't have runoff areas, like Ali slid for a long time, hit some
Mhm.
gravel, then hit the wall. If this is happening in one of those road courses or street tracks with barriers everywhere, and these guys go off and then they hit a wall and they're stopping with no safety barrier, no cushions, no tire barrier. So it could be very dangerous. And I think that um, at the beginning of the season, we talked about this, and I didn't want to be like a Debbie Downer and say, these regulations are horrible. I kind of want to see how everything played out, but you kind of see it from the racing and the safety standpoint that it's not what everybody wants. It's not what the drivers want. Some of the fans might like it because it's a little more chaotic. True racing fans, I think, look at it and say that they're kind of heading in a wrong direction.
I couldn't agree more. And something that I always talk about, just I drive a lot for heading to work, heading home to work. I have a long drive each way. I'm in the car a lot. And the biggest thing about that annoys me about people on the road, just to have a little analogy here, is what I expect people to do on the road is to be predictable, right? If the speed limit is 35 miles an hour, I expect you to at least be going 35 miles an hour. If you're going to make a right hand turn, if you're in the right turn lane, I expect you to make a right turn. These guys, even in racing, there's some predictability there. You don't expect somebody in front of you to be going 60 miles an hour less than you in a spot that you should be doing a certain speed. It's absolutely ridiculous to think that they have to worry about coming around a corner and seeing somebody harvesting their energy and that they might slam into somebody when that's the least that they expect. Now, you have incidences, you have certain things, maybe a car on the track that's broken down, but these guys are pretty good at being safe, getting off the road and not making an incident out of those types of situations. But yeah, it's just it's ridiculous to think these guys, and I did not see Carlos Sainz say that, but I did see Max come out and say, maybe it's just not all it's cracked up to be anymore. I got
Yeah, that
friends and family at home. I like hanging out with them. I'm not enjoying racing. I enjoy that. Dude makes $70 million a year, and he has for a couple years now. He's got more money than he needs to worry about. Um, he doesn't need to race. He doesn't need to. It's becoming unfun for some of these guys, and of course, I bet you hear a different story from the people at the front saying, "Oh, this actually isn't too bad." And we heard it last week from Lewis in China. And of course, when you're winning in anything, the regulations aren't too bad. But you have probably about 18 to 16 to 18 other drivers who I think disagree with that.
yeah, and I think my little analogy for that would be like if you're racing those Lego cars like they did in Miami last year,
Mm-hmm.
and you win that race, it's like you're having a great time. But
Right.
everybody else is like, this is not racing. We're all it's going to come to the point where, and yeah, Max was kind of the big one where he was saying, and I think Max saying that he's going to retire is a lot of maybe not wanting to go through that process of building up Red Bull again, of
Mm-hmm.
going to a different team, of going through that whole process of where he's going to go. I mean, where would he go? Mercedes, then he takes Antonelli's spot, or, I don't think they move on from Russell, but, um, go to Ferrari, go to McLaren. I mean, the seats are pretty much full.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think he wants to go to a different team. I always thought he'd go to Aston Martin. I think he sees them right now as a garbage fire and
That's
doesn't want to be
terrifying.
any doesn't want to be anywhere near that.
Yeah.
Um, but I think he just at the end of the day, I think he just wants to race and he wants to be competitive. And these cars just aren't going to give him what he wants. Even I don't even think if he was on the podium, he'd be happy because it's you're just mushroom hunting and then hitting your boost at the right time and see what shakes out on the other end.
Yeah, I mean, and we saw it nonstop throughout the race. Of happened to Russell, and it happened to Lewis, where you chase and chase and chase and chase and chase, and then all of a sudden, for no reason, in the same corner, is that Spoon, the name of that corner where the accident happened? Same
With
corner
Behrman.
where Russell got passed by Lando, and out of nowhere, and or I'm sorry, if think of first it was Charles, then it was Lando, and
Yeah,
then
because they're harvesting and trying to get max battery for that backstretch.
yeah, and you get past because you're on empty with your battery, and then the same thing happened to Lewis where he dropped down a few spots down quickly after just trying to battle Russell the whole time and keep him behind. So yeah, it's just it's not ideal. It's really not, and yeah, I think that Max saying that he might consider retiring is also a little bit of gamesmanship on his part of saying that, one of the top probably two or maybe three most popular drivers in the world is going to leave the sport over this. It's going to make the FIA really consider how this goes over the next, season and into 2027.
Yeah,
Um,
I just
as
don't
they
see
should.
what. Yeah, but I don't see what they can do. I mean, they're going to be locked into this for a while, and I think that's kind of what he's thinking is like this is going to be what we're doing for a while, at least
Hmm.
3 to 5 years. There's not a lot of big changes they can make. I don't like I was saying maybe um, distribute the battery less. Be able to use the battery less so you have more of it. You don't have to recharge as much, but at the end of the day, I don't know if there's too much that they can do. Kind of reminds me of like NASCAR back in the late like 2000s when they did a lot of big regulation changes. I mean, the stands used to be full. The racing just dropped off, and one of the top guys there, which was Carl Edwards, he kind of did the same exact thing that Max said like 3 years ago when he saw these regulations come down. Is he said, it's not going to be good. It's not going to be good for the sport. And Carl Edwards, he ended up retiring kind of in his prime, just like Max would if he retired, simply because he didn't like the racing and he didn't like the how everything was shaken out. So I'm a little worried that if this is what we're going to see and this is how we are moving forward, it's a little worrisome that
Hmm.
this might drag on and not change. And this is kind of the new era of F1, which I kind of alluded to a couple times about it being like a kart race, which is exciting, but that's not what we're tuning in for. That's not what draws me in to watch practice. On a weekend or even qualifying now. It's like it's like I said on our text, it might just be repeat. Week
Hmm.
after week after week, um, which isn't fun, and it'll drive out some guys, and it'll drive out the viewers and people in the stands if they know when they go to the race it's going to be a lopsided. Even the thought of there being like an upset will bring people in, but right now I don't think you could see that. Piastri actually could have did it this week if there was no safety car.
I thought he
So
had a chance for sure. Safety car ended that pretty quickly.
yeah,
You have to get way out front as one of these any other team than Mercedes. You have to get way out front and hope for no safety car because if they can get behind you, they're going to overtake. And something that I jotted down during the race right now is that Mercedes is still so far and away the better car with these regulations that even when these guys have poor starts, which both Antonelli and Russell did, they did not have good starts. Um, they're able to climb back, no problem, and
yeah.
get back into the lead. I'm not sure if it would have happened without a safety car this week, uh, but I guess we'll never know. So it's kind of a tough thing to judge. We'll have to see. But you poor start, you should be punished for it. You had a bad start. McLaren and Ferrari both got off much better at the beginning. And you can even hear on the onboard that Antonelli, just the engine bogs. It's that same thing Max was dealing with last week, that engine bog right at the beginning. It's not revving up like it should. I'm not technical enough to know why, but that's part of that problem. And they're not punished for it. They're just running out front, and they're so far away and advanced in the season with their development that there's nothing you can do to stop them. It's kind of sad. It's not really what I want to see. It was kind of a frustrating race to watch with all of this different harvest. I mean, now maybe Alpine has the car to support Gasly running in seventh the entire race. It seems like he fought hard enough against Max that he wouldn't let him pass, but Max sat 6 tenths, 7 tenths, 5 tenths behind him for damn near 20 laps. He just sat there. Couldn't get by him. And I don't know. I'd have to do some more research into why that is. Maybe he didn't have the tires underneath him. Maybe it's this harvesting and just didn't have the speed on the straight. I'm not sure what it is, but he couldn't get past him, and he was a half second behind him. That's where DRS, I think, came in handy last year, and not having that. Now they have this, overtake that they can use. I don't think it's very effective. It doesn't seem very effective. It might seem effective for these guys fighting at the front for a lap, but it doesn't seem effective consistently lap for lap.
It's almost like there's a reverse DRS train now. Like we used to see a DRS train where everybody was kind of catching up at the end of the straights, and then they fall back the rest of the lap. Now it's like everybody slows down at the end of the straights, and some guys are boosting, some guys aren't, and then it's like as long as you're within a second, you get that boost. You can kind of hang in there for the rest of the lap and stay within a second. It's like a reverse DRS train where these guys are grouping up and nobody can get away from each other. Nobody can really make significant passes and then stay ahead. It's like they pass, they get past, and then things kind of work themselves out. But it's almost like pack racing. Then the other thing with these, kind of what you touched on with the start, it's like almost all the starts for this season have been the same. It's like the Mercedes are out front, they bog down, they get passed by everybody. I mean, Kimi goes from first to fifth at the start, maybe even sixth, and then still wins the race. And then we see, the Ferraris take off again. So it's almost like a rinse and repeat every week. We're going to see Mercedes out front qualifying. They get past at the beginning, they get through, and then it's kind of see who works out behind them.
Yeah, it was so funny. Little side note, I was watching qualifying yesterday morning, and I had a moment that I forgot McLaren existed.
Because we haven't seen them for so long.
We haven't seen them. And I was sitting there and I was like, okay, Antonelli, Russell, Ferraris, and then Max, and then Hadjar. And then all of a sudden I was like, oh shit, there's 2 more cars that they still have to put laps in that are going to be up near the top. And I for a quick second, my brain just forgot they existed. So it was nice to see them back on track, and I think Oscar ran a great race to get second. It was good to see 3 different teams on the podium. I did like that, but it's always good.
There are a few pros. I mean, you have 3 different constructors on the podium, and then it kind of repeats 4th, 5th, and 6th. And then you had Gasly and Verstappen just kind of sitting there in 7th and 8th in their own little DRS train, or reverse
DRS train. Aston Martin, man, they can't figure it out. They finished the race.
He finished.
Hooray! One of them did. The rookie.
Like Oscar's like, I started a race, and Alonso's like, I finished a race. It's like, you got to take the wins when you can.
Finally. But man, it's sad. It's really sad whatever's going on there. And I'm sure Honda was at the race, uh, just kind of trying to figure things out for him. And it's not looking good. It's really, really bad.
Yeah,
I never expected to see a team that fought hard for some decent, you know, races last year, getting midfield team still, but beginning of the season last year, they had some good starts. 2 years ago, Alonso had some great starts, and now just, I mean, dead last,
yeah.
dead last, not finishing. Stroll coming out. I feel like Stroll might have a code word when he wants to be done that he says over the radio that we don't know what it is.
Yeah. He's
And then
like,
they just
it's
call him in.
super. He's like, it's super tight, and then they're
It's super tight. All right, we're gonna have to check the car. Box. We're gonna have to check the car, and he's just done racing. Alonso definitely puts in the work to, you know, finish the race and deal with the vibrations. But yeah, it's sad. It's sad to see them in last. And that's with one really actually new team on the grid and another team that took over kind of a failing team and Kick Sauber. But it's crazy to think that with everything that they have at their fingertips, that they're this far behind
yeah
still.
in a brand new facility.
Brand new
Ad-
facility,
Adrian Newey, you got
Adrian Newey, a new team principal coming in. So yeah, it's sad. Feel bad for them. Feel bad for Alonso. That's who I feel
that's
bad for.
that's got to be a really hard place to work right now. Like going into work,
Yeah.
and it's just like we can't even finish like we're a racing team, and we can't even complete a race.
Hmm.
I
Yeah.
mean, that shit. It's like,
There's an old Brian Regan stand up bit where he talks about who would want to ever be the president of the United States or any country for that matter. And he said, you wake up in the morning and there's someone in your face just going, problems. There's problems. And that's what going to work there is like. Every morning you wake up and you're just trying to fix problems. And so are some of these other teams. I mean, you look at a team like Red Bull, Max missing Q Q3.
yeah,
Um, just, I mean, and Hadjar making it, but
I don't think he cares. Honestly, I don't.
he
And
might
maybe
not,
they're not
man.
cutting to his radio, but it doesn't sound like he's complaining a lot. Just sounds like he's just out there. Like he will he. I think he's just such a pure racer that he wants to work on the handling. He wants to work on like the balance of the car, and you
Hmm.
hear him talking about that. But it's not like he's got that fight in him with these regulations to like complain about being eighth or missing Q1 or Q3. Um, it just doesn't feel like the same Max, and I don't
Right.
blame him.
So when you were talking about NASCAR, remind me of the gentleman who left. What's his name?
Carl Edwards,
Yeah, Carl Edwards. Did he ever return?
no,
No.
never.
So my other thought is maybe Max does take 4 years off. Races GT3, races some Cup Series, races some Porsche Carrera Cup races, Nurburg lap record type stuff, and
I think
does
that's
that
what
kind of
he'll
thing.
do.
And then when these regs are done, when they realize they made a huge mistake and implement more engine and less battery, maybe he returns.
Yeah,
It could be
I
an
think
option.
that's yeah, yeah. In the NASCAR thing, there was a quite a few guys that kind of took early exits. They didn't like the racing, and then they also did things with the points. Points used to be kind of like how Formula One is now, get points every week, and then they went to like a bracket style playoff with a four driver championship at the end of the year, which just is and it made a lot of the old fans leave. So I'm just a little worried that, it's almost like the FIA or F1, whoever's governing these changes is like a government, and they're just wrecking shit, and they don't care. And it's just like, this is what we're doing. We're carbon neutral by 2030, and this is how we're getting there. And the racing's just going to decline and go into the toilet. But you got all these other series that are going to keep the big motors, and they're just like Max racing that race last weekend. I bet he had a great time. He had a lot of great
Oh,
battles. He
yeah.
probably walked away from that going, yeah, I got it. This is what I got to do.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. We have Formula E. That it's a thing.
Yeah.
I I don't understand why we need to implement more batteries elsewhere. We have it.
And there is like a sweet spot. You don't want no regulations, like our podcast name, um, to be kind of what it used to be, where it was like either the most money won, or one team would just find the secret sauce and take off with it, and every race they were dominating. Um, so they kind of did this budget or the salary cap type deal,
Hmm.
and but now with which I think that was great. I think
I
that
thought it
brought a
was
lot
great.
of teams together. It made it so it's not so expensive, so you don't have to spend $300 million to win a championship. You had some teams spending crazy amounts, and some just spending enough to get in there, and they were getting last. But it. I think there is a sweet spot where you have that budget cap, and then you also have some regulations and parameters for them to stay in. But this just feels like it's not going to end well, and it's not going to keep a lot of fans in, and it's not going to keep a lot of these great drivers in, because it's a little gimmicky.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's almost like it's like for people that watch for the crashes rather than people that watch for the speed and the driving and the technology advances, or the
Yeah.
kind of the car advances.
The Drive to Survive fans.
Yeah. Yeah, and
Yeah.
they're and like there's people that watch NASCAR, and they love the crashes. And there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, it's not like we're gonna say like that crash that I sent you, the race before the Formula One race. I think
Oh,
that's
yeah.
why it was delayed. I mean, the car just flips out of the track.
It was
Um,
gnarly.
I mean, you hate to see it for the safety, but it's also, it's kind of something that we watch and we
It's
share.
yeah. Yeah, it's astonishing to see. There's no doubt about it, but yeah, I couldn't agree more. There's people that want to watch it for the racing and for the what Formula 1 I think is meant to be, and we're not there right now. We're really not.
Yeah. Yeah, and
It's
I don't even see any races that could come down to strategy right now, like tire strategy, um, stops. I think it's like when you get these, I don't, I'm gonna have to make up a name for it, but the reverse DRS train, where all these guys are together, they're gonna kind of like today what we saw before the safety cars, they box, and then it's just kind of like brings everybody in, and everybody kind of wants to stay on the same schedule,
mhm,
because you kind of see it when Antonelli got out in front and got away. Once you get away, it's kind of done.
mhm,
Unless you just have a better car. Like, I could see them coming back, but I don't think that there's going to be a whole lot of strategy. And that was another thing that I always loved to watch in these races, was a team that could kind of break through and figure out a strategy, a one stop or a three stop, and kind of beat these guys on a different game rather than just the car and the engine.
yeah, yep. Strategy like Pierre Gasly's win at Monza several years ago.
Yeah,
Um, a strategy win, man. You're right, and that was an excellent point. That it seems like that's out the window. You
yeah,
you don't see any of those races that we had last year when it comes down to like, okay, there's 12 laps left. Max just pitted, so he's going to be behind, but he's on soft, and the other team's going to stay out and they're on medium. Can he catch up and make this a race? We haven't seen anything like that yet. It's early in the season, but we haven't seen anything like that yet.
No, it's all been pretty much pack racing and pure chaos
Yeah.
from the start.
Yeah. 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 I don't know, man. I don't know. It's frustrating. We have a month to think about it, by the way. Couple races canceled in the Middle East due to an ongoing war. Uh, I don't know who started that. But we'll be back May 1st through 3rd for the Miami Grand Prix here on home soil, which will be nice because we'll be able to watch the race at a normal time for the first time this year. Be able to watch it at 3 p.m. in the afternoon, which is going to be
Yeah,
great.
that'll be nice.
Um, did you have anything else you wanted to touch on, sir?
Uh, I mean, I kind of hit on everything. I sometimes lay awake at night thinking about this, and um, yeah, like I said, I didn't want to be like a big Debbie Downer. I kind of want to see how it played out, but it just doesn't feel right. Something feels off, and it feels like it's gonna kind of unravel. You start to see these guys speak out a lot more, like Leclerc at the end of qualifying, saying, this because as a driver, like what he was saying, you want to hit the gas as early as possible going down these big straights, but if you do that in these cars, it actually hurts you because then
Right.
you're clipping earlier and you're slowing down earlier. So it's like it kind of it just puts a bad taste in my mouth.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I'm glad that these drivers are starting to speak out because I think they need to maybe they do behind closed doors, and I would assume it's kind of like every other league where it's like, hey, don't criticize us too much. We're the one that pay your bills and this and that. But I think at some point these guys are kind of like Science Today saying, hey, this is a safety problem. Like this is going to happen more and more. Obviously, at the beginning of the year, these guys were kind of testing things out, but I think that it'll come to a head, and these guys are finally starting to talk about it. So I'm glad to see it.
They will. They'll speak up. I think they all know and feel the same way that Max does. He's been clearly the most vocal about it. And some of these guys, at one, I think that their PR teams probably prevent them from saying too much. Max doesn't really have too much of a filter, including kicking out a reporter from the press room the other
That
day,
was
which was
awesome.
hilarious. And I thought his answer was spot on.
Oh,
Basically, came down to, if you're going to disrespect me, then I'm not going to respect you, and you can get out. And then that it's as simple as that.
yeah.
And
He
I
seems
couldn't
like a
agree more.
very good guy. Obviously, he's outspoken, but I think he's kind of he's based. He's just kind of telling the truth, and yeah, I would not put it against him that this is his last year in Formula One for a while, and he goes and races some at real motors.
He's almost he. I mean, I think it's the Dutch way from what I've learned over the years, but he's so black and white and so honest and truthful about everything that I think you might be right. And back to that, what if anything can the FIA do to change things?
I think there's so much money and so much development that goes into these cars starting last year, 2 years ago. I mean, these guys have been working on these regulations, you know, for 3 years now.
Yeah,
And to just change things on a dime is not easy. Just like I think what they said about the Mercedes motor is that they're going to outlaw it like in August, um, which is, over halfway through the season. So
yeah,
I just, even with that, I just a loophole that they found that's borderline cheating. I wouldn't say it's cheating. It's a loophole that they found that they're correcting. But even with something like that, if it takes you 6 months to correct that,
yeah.
I don't see them doing anything about this clipping and battery and kind of go-kart racing we're seeing this year. I think it's going to kind of play out. Guys will develop and recover, and the gaps will get closer and better. But if every race is this reverse DRS train of packs of cars and nobody can get away from anybody, yeah, it'll be a frustrating season.
You don't think the FIA calls the teams and they're like, hey, did you guys happen to keep your 2025 motors in a garage somewhere that's easily accessible?
Yeah.
Why don't you bring those out?
The cars and everything.
just bring it back.
Like the racing the last 5 years, and there was that year where Max kind of dominated, but like even like the last 8, I mean, even at the tail end of Lewis's, streak and then Max's streak, I mean, that was so much fun.
Like, a lot of fun.
We had so much fun watching those races and strategy and these guys going at it. Now it just feels like we're like it's Mario Kart. We're watching Mario Kart in real life.
Yeah. One thing before we go, shout out to Mick Schumacher for putting down some good lap times. Unfortunately, the race did not shake out for him. He got second to last, but good to see him getting some time in a car. It's always good to see Formula One guys who, maybe their career didn't pan out, or that's after their Formula One career, go elsewhere and race. And IndyCar tends to be a good spot for that. Street racing, similar type open wheel car. So good to see his name on the leaderboards a little bit this weekend. I think he's got it. It's definitely in his blood. I don't know if he technically had it for Formula One, but I don't think you can deny that he's a solid racer. So hopefully things work out well for him. He keeps continuing to grow in IndyCar. Hopefully he likes it. And a lot of people are saying IndyCar is a good thing to watch right now. So we might have to dabble in that a little bit this season to keep things fresh and have kind of a different perspective on another, open wheel racing series.
Yeah. Yeah. I like all racing. So, and our name is No Regulation. So
that's right. And I'm hearing we also might get a rally this year in the United States, which would be really fun. Yeah, heard that last week. I'll look into it a little bit more for the next one, come with some more information, but that would be cool too, because most of them are overseas, and it would be really cool to see a real rally here with the best cars in the world on
That'd
our
be
soil.
Fun.
We got the spots for it, man. The Pikes Peak Enduro race is always a good one out in Colorado. That's a really fun one. So we have some good spots for it. I think that we could use a rally here every once in a while. So, all right, excellent. Next race, Miami, first week of May. So a full month. We'll try to get some stuff out and get some content out. And whether it's just fun talking about stuff, maybe we'll do some last year's race reviews, some picks for the second half of the season, get some of those out there now that we have a little bit of information on cars and teams, less on McLaren than everybody else, but we'll have some stuff coming out, and we'll have some fun over the next month. Who knows? We'll cook up something.
Yeah, we'll have to revisit some of those. My pick for the season championship was Piastri, and I was really hoping he won so that I could get a little bit of not so much last place type vibes, but yeah. I picked him to win the Drivers' Championship, and he hasn't started a race yet, so that was good to see him out there.
Hey, well, the one race that he did, he got second. So, hey.
Yeah, and he could have won it.
And he could have won. So, I think your pick is still alive.
Like an idiot. Yeah.
No, you're still alive.
I just don't want to be too dumb.
You're still alive. Well, Kimi Antonelli leading the current World Drivers' Championship standings. Excited for him. Youngest guy to ever lead. So we'll see if he can carry it on through Miami.
Sounds good.
Buddy. All right, everybody. Thanks for watching. See ya.